Who has the best budget for 2025?
And I have a glimpse of the knowledge about it, and I'm the tobacco control champion.
The way I carry myself and conduct myself before coming to present is what I think is an advantage for me.
It will take me 6 hours just to sharpen the axe before I get to chop the tree in 2 hours.
The grand finale, episode 5 of The People's Budget.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the grand finale of The People's Budget Season 3. The theme for this year has been domestic resource mobilization amidst a drought, energy crisis, and socio-economic reforms. It's a budget, and would like to thank everyone that has joined us this morning. We've got company from the Zambia Revenue Authority, the Bank of Zambia. We've got parliamentarians who are joining us this morning, the Ministry of Energy, the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and the Parliamentary Budget Committee is also here with us this morning. As we begin our program, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite us to please be upstanding as we sing the Zambian national anthem. Stand and sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We've won freedom's fight. Oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us, O her people, join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free, one land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace knit Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free, praise be to God. Bless our great nation. Free men we stand under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free. Thank you so much. After all that money there, I was also considering, I think I can do that. All I need are the bottle tops and, be able to make that noise. But I think I'm good. I should try rehearsing to be able to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to invite the Executive Director for the Center for Trade Policy and Development, Mr. Isaac Mwaipopo, who will give us his welcoming and opening remarks. Let's give him a round of applause.
I've never seen Jonah dance, so I was shocked to hear that he can easily do that. I hope I haven't tempered with the mic completely. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I know we all don't have power, but good morning. So, we welcome you to the grand finale of the People's Budget. And we are so grateful from the Center for Trade Policy and Development with our partner, Diamond TV, for your acceptance to come and be part of this initiative that we have been running the past 3 years. So the idea behind the People's Budget has partly been explained by Jonah a few minutes ago, but before I share a few remarks, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the representative from the Bank of Zambia, representatives coming through from the Parliamentary and Budget Office. We see you. Thank you so much for coming through. We have the Ministry of Energy who are part of our meeting. Thank you so much for finding time to be here. Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, our parent ministry in terms of the work that we do on trade and development. The Zambia Revenue Authority, an institution that plays a key role in terms of collecting revenue on behalf of the Zambian people. We have our members of parliament who have come through from the Planning and Budget Committee, representatives from CSOs, Young Professionals Network, the media, but more importantly, the contestants there. Congratulations to all of you for making it this far. And thank you so much for all the debates, the arguments that you've been putting out in the last 2 to 3 weeks, trying to share your perspective with regards to how the 2025 national budget can look like. So this is an initiative that basically targets the presentation of the national budget. We are aware that the budget will be presented before the floor of Parliament this coming Friday. And previously, we have seen more of our members of parliament, more of civil society organizations, academia, think tanks engaging in the national budget. We've also heard a number of stakeholders indicating that the budget is a technical document and it's a document that might need trained economists or lawyers to engage in it. And in responding to that, we thought that we can activate young people's participation in this process by bringing them closer to the entire cycle of formulating the budget.
Well, I'm not opposed to dancing. I just need an assurance that there will be a flooding of some brown notes down there. If that's the case, then let's rumble. But before that, we would like to also hear, as the ED has already mentioned, would also like to hear from our previous winner for the 2023 People's Budget. This is our People's Minister of Finance. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Enoch Lupikisha. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. It's definitely an honor to be here. My name is Enoch, and I am the soon-to-be former finance minister of this great competition organized by CTPD and Tax Justice Network Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, organizers, participants, and judges, good morning. It is an absolute honor to stand before you today at this remarkable grand finale of the People's Budget, organized by the Center for Trade and Policy Development in conjunction with Tax Justice Network Africa. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to CTPD for inviting me to this event and giving me the opportunity to reflect on my journey as last year's winner. Last year, I stood on this very stage as a competitor. I was filled with excitement and the desire to contribute to something meaningful to the discourse of our country's budget and economic future. This year's theme being domestic revenue mobilization amidst drought, energy crisis, and socioeconomic reforms, presents yet an opportunity for us to think critically about how we, as a nation, can harness our resources effectively. In these times of uncertainty, the ability to mobilize revenue domestically is crucial to ensuring that we can fund initiatives that address challenges of drought, energy shortages, and socioeconomic disparities. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to emphasize that every kwacha allocated, every policy prioritized, and every reform undertaken within the budget has a direct impact on the lives of each and every Zambian. It determines whether our farmers can access support during these times of drought, whether our energy sector can be revitalized to meet the growing demands, whether our youth can access opportunities to thrive in the ever-changing economy. The national budget is quite literally the instrument through which we can drive change, create opportunities, and secure a better future for our country, Zambia.
Thank you so much to the almost former People's Minister of Finance. Only a few more minutes before that is changed, but it's an honor to still hold that title. We've come this far, and I'd like us to go down memory lane and take a look at the people's budget and its story. So I'll invite all of you to please watch this video with me.
Averaging 22.83%. We saw our local currency depreciate against major currencies like the United States dollar.
Madam Speaker, it is my duty as the Finance Minister to update the nation on the state of the economy as well as the 2022 national budget.
Fellow countrymen and women,
I took part in this competition not only to challenge and grow myself, but also to be a part of the process of young people contributing to policy reforms. The competition has made it possible for young people like me, amongst many others out there, to kind of submit their submissions so that line ministries and key stakeholders can see if they can pick a few things as recommendations as they tailor the national budget, amongst other national relating issues.
Unfortunately, we still have to trim the numbers down. From 7, this number has to come down to the top 5.
Debt service. We need to see more.
They have not passed through any form of training.
Out of 116 districts affected. It is in this regard that the theme for the 2025 national budget is domestic resource mobilization. Something that has hugely motivated me.
My name is Onia Sola. Using Chainda as a research example, I, the Minister of Finance,
8.1 billion, accounting for 16.4% of the, and also mechanized water sprinklers and water harvest. Further, Madam Speaker, 956 million kwacha for animal disease control.
Allocation of 7.6 billion kwacha towards the energy sector.
Of that will be 12 billion kwacha. Our immediate course of action as the Minister of Finance, I'll support the Minister of Health to enact the tobacco control bill.
I do believe this is a great opportunity for me to.
It is one of the famous committees of the national team. So most of.
Next time, we see who makes it through to the next round of the people's budget.
Good morning, everyone. I want to ride on the protocols that have already been observed, and it's really a great pleasure that Madam Speaker, through her office, thought of sending us, the Planning and the Budgeting Committee, to come and sit with the youth, and also CTPD and ZRA, Bank of Zambia, and many others dignitaries who are here. I want to say thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for having the confidence in us. I would want to appreciate the people of Lundazi for having given me chance to be a member of parliament, and also courtesy of my friends in my committee. I was elected vice chairperson for the Planning and Budgeting Committee. This is one of the committees in Parliament which looks at how much each of the ministries have been allocated. So we go around to see how this budget is performing. We have a midterm budget again. After some time, we sit to analyze, did we do well or we did not do well? I would want to appreciate that our youth are participating in this very important call called the budget. The budget is a national cake, and this cake is supposed to be shared equally amongst our people. And what you need to know is that the population comprises of women, it comprises of men, and it also comprises of you, our youth, who are the future of today and not tomorrow, as it has always been said. When we look at Zambia today, our youth are facing a lot of challenges, different challenges. For you, our youth who are able to speak in this place, you are lucky. I would say God has really helped you, because I'm looking at that youth who is right now drunk. I'm looking at that youth who is using drugs. I'm looking at that youth who has fallen out of school, and at the end of the day, he's in a rehabilitation center. I'm looking at that youth who cannot find a job. I'm looking at that youth who has everything it takes, but they can't find themselves out. It is sad that today we have junkies. It is sad that today we have a serious challenge of teenage pregnancies. So when I see the young girl there being one of the finalists, for me, I wish if I was the judge, I would have said she's the winner. But let us wait and see, because I know girl power is always very good. And as a gender activist, I always support my young girls so that tomorrow they can come and be president of the Republic of Zambia. What is important is the youth participation helps us lawmakers of today to know the real challenges which our country is facing, and to see, are we really touching the lives of our children? Are we really helping them? Since they may not have a voice in the House, when you speak here, the Planning and Budgeting Committee, together with the Secretariat, will be able to pick 1 and 2 and 3 of the issues that you are going to bring out, and definitely you are going to hear them when we debate on the floor of the House. I would want to encourage you, our youth, to really take this budget process very serious. If you do not take this budget serious, I would want to tell you that you won't have any space in it. There is a fight. The old people are fighting. They are crying out. The people who are physically challenged are crying out. They also want their share. Us as women, we are fighting and would want to have our share. The men, they are the ones who've been dominating, and they don't even want to move. They always want to get a lion's share. So for you, our youth, you really have to make sure that your voice is really being spoken, and increase the volume.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member of Parliament. It is now time, the time that we have all been waiting for. The rest of us perhaps a tad bit more than the 3 contestants. But at this point, I'd like to invite the first of the 3. And you have 15 minutes to convince all of us that your budget is in fact the people's budget. Well, maybe the judges a bit more of the convincing than the rest of us. But good luck and all the best. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the first of the 3, Emmanuel Sakala. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Greetings, countrymen, women, and the youths, and the House. Madam Speaker, I'm a Minister of Finance and National Planning. My name is Emmanuel Sakala Jr. The 2025 national budget sits on the theme domestic resource mobilization amidst a drought, energy crisis, and socio-economic reforms. Madam Speaker, with this, the budget is a transition to a value-added or value addition and export-led economy and growth. The budget, Madam Speaker, is prepared in accordance with Article 202 of the Zambian Constitution and also in line with the Public Debt Management Act. Madam Speaker, not only that, but also aligns with the 8th National Development Plan. With this being said, Madam Speaker, allow me to lay before the August House the budget overview. Madam Speaker, the budget will cost an estimate of 200 billion Zambian kwacha, with 12.5% increment from the current 177.9 billion kwacha. Madam Speaker, projected revenue is estimated to be 170 billion and GDP growth target, Madam Speaker, to be 5.0%, increase from the current 4.72%. With this, Madam Speaker, we are keen as a government to maintain a single-digit inflation of between 6 to 8%. This, Madam Speaker, will allow us to have a constant price flow of commodities and goods, and therefore easing the livelihood of our people. With this said, Madam Speaker, fiscal deficit we're expected to maintain 5% of the GDP. Debt servicing will allocate 60 billion, represented by 30% of the total budget. Borrowing, Madam Speaker, we are expected to borrow 20 billion, and from grants, we're expected to have 5 billion Zambian kwacha. Madam Speaker, this budget cannot be financed without revenue sources. Therefore, the government plans to generate 170 billion in revenue, Madam Speaker, through combination of tax reforms and strategic revenue mobilization. Tax reforms, Madam Speaker, tax revenue will be 125 billion Zambian kwacha, broken down as follows, Madam Speaker. Income tax, we are expected to generate 55 billion Zambian kwacha. Value-added tax, we are expected to generate 30 billion kwacha. Excise duty and sin tax, we are expected to raise 20 billion kwacha. Custom duties, Madam Speaker, we are expected to raise 10 billion kwacha. And property tax, we are expected to raise 1.5 billion kwacha. Non-tax revenue, Madam Speaker, we are expected to generate 15 billion kwacha, broken down as follows: from fees, state-owned enterprises, dividends, mineral royalties, and tourism revenues. Madam Speaker, borrowing, we're expected to borrow 20 billion kwacha, like I earlier alluded to. Domestic borrowing will be 10 billion Zambian kwacha via government bonds and treasury bills. Madam Speaker, external borrowing will be 10 billion kwacha. This is in concessional loans. With this, Madam Speaker, grants will be 5 billion kwacha from multilateral and bilateral partners. This, Madam Speaker, the grants will help facilitate in crucial sectors such as health, education, and infrastructure. Key tax reforms. Madam Speaker, tobacco kills over 7,142 lives every year. Therefore, as a government, it is our priority that we have tobacco taxation, and we increase in specific tobacco tax and tobacco products from 50 kwacha to 200 kwacha per 1,000 cigarettes. And this will reflect a 300% increment. Madam Speaker, excise duty will rise from 25% currently to 45%, reflecting 80% increment. Madam Speaker, will also introduce 10% sin tax surcharge on all tobacco products. This, Madam Speaker, we expect to generate the revenue of 5.3 billion Zambian kwacha, opposed to the current 1.5 billion kwacha from revenue. And this will contribute 2.5% to the GDP. Madam Speaker, these reforms align with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, Article number 6. Madam Speaker, to ensure that we reduce consumption of tobacco and protect the lives of our people, especially the young people. Supporting for value addition and export-led economy and growth, Madam Speaker, Zambia, Madam Speaker, is setting a course toward becoming a value-added and export-led economy. By this, Madam Speaker, we will allocate 10 billion to support this initiative by investing in infrastructure and industries, especially key industries such as mining, agriculture, and manufacturing. Agriculture, Madam Speaker, will enhance agro-processing industries to add value to raw products such as maize and cotton. Mining will expand capacity for copper and cobalt, smelting and refining, Madam Speaker, to ensure that we export high-value products. Non-traditional export, Madam Speaker, we're expected to raise to 25% from the current that we have. Sectorial allocation, Madam Speaker, this budget reflects that the health sector will be allocated 22 billion, reflecting 15.8% increment from 2024 with 11% of the total budget. Madam Speaker, this is to support reduced tobacco-related illnesses and align with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Education will be allocated 23 billion, reflecting 21% increment from 2024, which was 19 billion, and this, Madam Speaker, is reflecting 11.5% of the total budget. We enhance, Madam Speaker, focus on vocational training, STEM programs, and skills development for value-added industries. Infrastructure development will allocate 27 billion Zambian kwacha. This reflects 17.4% increment from 23 billion, which was in 2024, and this reflects 13.5% of the total budget, focusing on roads, energy projects, and industry zones to support export-driven industries. With this, Madam Speaker, and with your support, and with the support of all Zambians, we will build a stronger, healthier, and more prosperous Zambia together. Thank you for being part of the journey to transform Zambia into a value-added and export-led economy. I thank you, and God bless Zambia.
Countrymen and women, Madam Speaker, my name is Sanga Francis, your Minister of Finance and National Planning. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House do now resolve into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the period 1st January 2025 to 31st December 2025, pursuant to Article 202 of the Constitution of Zambia. Madam Speaker, the economy was projected to grow by 4.7% in 2024 against 2.3% outcome. The inflation rate rose to 15.5%, mainly from 12.9% in the last quarter of 2023. This was mainly due to the El Nino-induced drought, which has devastated crops, weakened the kwacha, increased import costs, and greatly reduced hydropower. Madam Speaker, my budget will address the concerns of that local farmer in Vubwi, that young entrepreneur in Dundumwenzi, that unemployed youth in Chitulika, and that woman in Chadiza whose business is in dire straits. Madam Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I present the 2025 national budget under the theme Domestic Resource Mobilization Amid this Drought, Energy Crisis, and Socio-Economic Reforms. Madam Speaker, my presentation this morning will be in 3 parts. In part 1, I will lay down the macroeconomic objectives of the fiscal year 2025. In part 2, I will bring to your attention the estimates of revenue and expenditure. And in part 3, Madam, I will be concluding. The macroeconomic objectives are, number 1, attain a real GDP growth rate of at least 4.8%. Number 2, reduce inflation rate to 6 to 8% medium-term target band. Number 3, increase international reserve to above 3.5 months. And also limit domestic borrowing to not more than 1% of the GDP, and also reduce fiscal deficit to 3.5% of the GDP. And lastly, to increase domestic revenue collection to at least 22.9% of the GDP. Madam Speaker, the budget. Madam, the government proposes to spend a total of 106.3 billion kwacha, or 29.1% of GDP. Of this, 156.2 billion kwacha, or 24.4% from domestic revenue, of which 125.3 billion kwacha in tax revenues and 30.9 billion kwacha in non-tax revenues, 5.1 billion kwacha in grants from cooperating partners, and 25 billion kwacha as financing, of which 11 billion kwacha domestic and 14 billion kwacha external. General public services. Madam Speaker, in order to restore fiscal prudency and debt sustainability, 49.7 billion kwacha will be allocated, of which 24.1 billion kwacha for domestic debt, 5.4 billion kwacha for external debt, and 6.8 billion kwacha to dismantle arrears. Economic affairs. Madam Speaker, in order to support economic sectors and unlock growth potential, I propose to spend 45.8 billion kwacha, or 24.6% of the budget. Agriculture. Madam Speaker, agriculture, which is the food basket of the economy, is slowly projected to decline by 19%. Therefore, 18.7 billion kwacha will address key interventions in agriculture, fisheries, and livestock, targeting climate-smart agricultural methods and resilient crops such as sorghum, millet, and cassava. 7.9 towards farmer input support unity, electronic transformation program. Madam Speaker, also prioritizing agriculture research and enhancing fertilizer and farm input distribution. 4.6 billion kwacha under the comprehensive agricultural transformation support program, of which 1.6 billion kwacha for strategic food reserves and storage, extension services to support fund to support startup farmers and agripreneurs. Madam Speaker, 1.2 billion kwacha for farm blocks, irrigation development such as mechanized water sprinklers and water harvesting. 956 million kwacha for disease surveillance and response. Madam Speaker, 884 million kwacha for the construction and the rehabilitation of dams and agroecology adoption. Madam Speaker, in order to lower the cost of transportation of goods from farms to markets, the Millennium Challenge Corporation grants the government a total of $456 million for mechanization equipment, road infrastructure, agro-processing, and as well as recapitalized nitrochemicals of Zambia to full capacity in order to increase productivity, reduce cost of production, create a readily available market for our farmers, and provide employment to our local people. Madam Speaker, therefore, the growth rate in agriculture is estimated to be at 10% per annum. Madam Speaker, in order to ensure local development and more resources to the community, I increased CDF allocation to 4.2 billion kwacha, implying the 3.6 million kwacha per constituency. This is for the purpose of implementing electronic monitoring of disbursement and fund utilization, as well as promoting the science, technology, engineering, and mathematical skills in order to embrace growth in the manufacturing sector. Madam Speaker, further, 420 million kwacha under the Citizens Economic and Empowerment Commission. Madam Speaker, energy. Madam, when an elephant dies, the story in the village is that elephant. That is why I propose to spend 10.7 billion kwacha on energy for investment in renewable and clean energy, focusing on importation of 170 megawatt from ESCOM, 160 megawatt from the Namibian power line, and 330 megawatt from the Eastern African power pool, and generator set installation in key markets for short-term measures. Madam Speaker, geothermal coal plants for medium-term measures, and solar farm installation at Chisamba, Kafuo Lower Gorge, Itezitezi, or at 100 megawatts, and Choma at 50 megawatts for long-term measures. Madam Speaker, I also dismantle areas for sustainable operations on the independent power producers under the open access program, shunning away from the power generation monopoly. Madam Speaker, mining. Madam, for the continued revival of mining operations, I propose 190 million kwacha for geological mapping and surveys for assessing quality and quantity mineral reserves, particularly the gold and silverite, as these facets, Madam Speaker, are a low-hanging fruit. Madam Speaker, education. For productive and innovative citizens, I allocate 31.3 billion kwacha, or 16% of the budget towards education, of which 4.4 billion kwacha for school infrastructure and grants, 1.4 billion kwacha for skills development, 370 million kwacha for research, innovations, and importantly, promoting awareness and sensitization on the harmful effects of tobacco among pupils and students. Madam Speaker, health. For health services delivery, I propose to spend 23.1 billion kwacha, or 12.4% of the budget, of which 7.2 billion kwacha for the purchase of drugs and medical supplies, 2.1 billion kwacha for the construction, upgrade, and rehabilitation of health infrastructure, and 1.5 million kwacha for the recruitment of health workers.
Greetings, countrymen and women of this great nation. My name is Lilanda Victor, the Minister of Finance and National Planning. Madam Speaker, the 2025 national budget is developed with a focus on addressing the immediate challenges posed by the ongoing El Nino drought, which has affected the agriculture and energy sector, hence calling for socio-economic reforms. It is in this context that the theme is domestic resource mobilization amidst a drought, energy crisis, and socio-economic reforms. Madam Speaker, I will outline my estimates of revenue and expenditure for the 2025 national budget, and I will address the state of the economy, the macroeconomic objectives, and then I'll conclude. Madam Speaker, the government intends to raise 200 billion kwacha, which is 12.4% increment from this year's national budget, in order to meet the proposed expenditure. This amount will comprise 158 billion kwacha, or 23.9% of GDP in domestic revenue, 128.7 billion kwacha, or 64.4% of the national budget to be tax revenue, while 29.8 billion kwacha will be non-tax revenue. Grants from corporate partners will be 3.8 billion kwacha. Madam Speaker, from external and domestic borrowing, we intend to raise 27 billion kwacha, which is 14% of the national budget, and a 5% decrease from this year's allocation, of which 13.2 billion kwacha will be raised through domestic instruments such as treasury bills and government bonds, and 13.8 billion kwacha from external sources. Madam Speaker, on the state of the economy, according to a report from the Zambia Statistics Agency, the overall inflation rate as of August 2024 is at 15.5% with a GDP of 5.2%. Madam Speaker, this is as a result of the drought which has severely impacted our energy sector and the agriculture sector, which contributes 60% of the workforce and 19% of the GDP. The drought has devastated our crops such as our staple food, leading to an increase in the price of maize and compromising the food security of the nation. Madam Speaker, on the other hand, the increase in inflation has been due to decrease in production, increase in import costs, which in turn has weakened our local currency. Madam Speaker, the kwacha depreciated by 14.1% against the US dollar to 26 kwacha per US dollar between January and August this year. This has also been as a result of decrease in exports due to decreased production from sectors such as, but not exclusive to, mining and agriculture sectors, hence making our local currency weak. Madam Speaker, in order to counter this effect, there is need to tighten monetary policy and fiscal policy measures. In this regard, the government will cushion the economy against external shocks by accumulating adequate international reserves and providing the necessary market support. In order to increase foreign exchange earnings, Madam Speaker, the government will promote export-led industrialization, attract foreign direct investments, and promote economic diversification initiatives. Madam Speaker, on expenditure, the government proposes to allocate 6.3 billion kwacha on the energy sector, which is an increase from this, the government proposes to allocate 7.4 billion kwacha, which is an increase from this year's 6.3 billion kwacha. It is not a secret that the power outage has affected most households, SMEs, and manufacturing sector, leading to low production. In order to mitigate this crisis, I propose to launch the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Procurement Program, which will allow private companies to invest in renewable energy projects. This will also help reduce reliance on ZESCO. I also propose to introduce tax deduction for businesses that invest in solar and wind energy installation. Madam Speaker, on the agriculture sector, I propose to allocate 16.4 billion kwacha, which represent an 8.2% in order to cushion the effects of the drought on this sector. Madam Speaker, I have allocated 523 million kwacha for the construction of 28 dams and rehabilitation of 6 dams. According to Plan International Zambia, the drought has severely impacted 9.8 million people across 84 out of 116 districts, with 6.6 million individuals in urgent need of our support. Madam Speaker, in order to mitigate this crisis, I propose to invest in agriculture, in irrigation systems, drought-resistant crops, improve water management through water harvesting techniques, and access to finances so as to align with climate-smart agricultural practices. This will supplement the comprehensive Agriculture Transformation Support Program, which was launched earlier this year. Madam Speaker, the government plans to set aside 179.9 million kwacha for geological mappings to boost resource exploration. The mining sector continues to be the backbone and crucial to our economy, accounting for 70% of the GDP. However, the low copper production has harmed our economy, compounding by poor tax compliance among many mining companies. A report from the Zambia Revenue Authority indicates that only 6 out of the 6,000 licensed mining companies are compliant, leading to significant losses due to tax avoidance and evasion. There's an urgent need to curb illicit financial flows by implementing tough measures such as strengthening financial oversight and reducing corruption.
Of truth. And this is where we find out who the winner for the People's Budget Season 3 is. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just also waiting for the results. So, you know, I didn't make it up. So we've had a panel of 3 judges that have been with us through this competition. They've been making these decisions and giving feedback to all the 10 contestants. And today will not be any different. There's a mic that is at the table where the judges are. They will give us insight on the criteria that they've been using to decide who is the winner today.
Thank you so much. I'll stand and I'll represent my colleagues. But first of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Emmanuel Zulu. I'm the Vice National Secretary for the Economics Association of Zambia, EAZ, and I'm an economist by profession. I'll also allow my colleagues to introduce themselves.
My name is Malama Mukonde. I am a media personality, and that's what I do. So I'm looking at this from a different perspective. It's about information. How well researched are these contestants as well as they deliberate their budgets? So that's who I am.
Hi everyone, my name is Elijah Mumba. Let me look this side as well. So I coordinate the Zambia Tax Platform. Yeah, looking forward to the results actually.
Well, that's the panel that I was in as well as a judge. First of all, I think we must appreciate CTPD and Tax Justice Network for this platform that they did accord to the young people and everyone. And also appreciate everyone that is here, the honorable MPs, different ministries, different organizations that were able to witness this grand finale. I just want to make mention that this has been a long journey. We had 10 candidates, and we had to pick the best out of the best, because I believe everyone deserves to be among the 10. And if it were possible, all of them should have been winners. But as it is a competition, and they have to fight or maybe wrestle among themselves.
Judges, I'd like to invite the Executive Director for the Center for Trade Policy and Development and our guest of honor, Honorable Brenda Nyirenda, to please come forward as they will be handing over the prizes to the winner of this competition. I will start. With the second runner-up. With a total of 84.2. Number 3. In season 3 of the People's Budget is Emmanuel Sakala. That leaves us with 2 contestants. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this season of the People's Budget with 89.2 points is the most outstanding performer in this competition between Francis Tsanga and Victor Lilanda. Put your hands together for Victor Lilanda. And that makes Francis Tsanga the runner-up with 87.7 points. Congratulations to all 3 of you. And congratulations to Victor Lilanda for winning season 3 of the People's Budget. Let's give him another round of applause. $10,000 kwacha for the runner-up and 20,000 kwacha for the winner. I think that deserves a huge round of applause. Congratulations. Perfect timing. Today's a Wednesday, you know. It's a check. It's about 2 days before Friday. We can help you to budget. You've been budgeting. We can help you to budget for this. But well done, and congratulations to the winner, and congratulations to all three. Many congratulations to those that made it to the top 10. But here is where we get to the conclusion of the season finale of the People's Budget.